Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're really getting into the Miami Grand Prix sprint qualifying. It was quite something.
It really was. Lots to unpack.
We've got the drivers' reactions, straight from the F1 channel, the highlights, tech insights from F1 TV, and analysis from Motorsports by Alex.
A good mix of sources.
Our mission, basically, is to figure out what really happened. Antonelli's pole, the strategies, the errors.
And those tech updates, too. See how they might shake things up for the main race.
Exactly. It's funny how these sprint qualifying sessions, sometimes they feel a bit secondary, but this one.
Wow. Yeah, rookie grabbing pole, teams bringing big upgrades. It definitely delivered some drama. Packs a punch, doesn't it?
It really does. And let's start with the biggest story. Kimi Antonelli, 18 years old, pole position.
Just incredible.
Hearing his reaction, it was just pure joy and, frankly, disbelief. He literally said, I'm feeling over the moon. I did not expect it.
You could hear it in his voice, that genuine shock. And Motorsports by Alex rightly called it historic. An 18-year-old taking the top spot in any F1 qualifying session is huge.
It raises questions, though, doesn't it? Like, is raw talent just enough sometimes in these sprint formats?
It seems like it can be. Adaptability, nailing that one lap. It also brings up that point Alex made. Should we even call it pole position for a sprint?
That's actually a really interesting point. The terminology might need to evolve,
Could do, as the format beds in.
Antonelli also mentioned feeling like he was improving with every lap, finding that consistency.
Which is key, especially under pressure.
And even while soaking it in, he was already thinking about the race, wanting to repeat myself. That's impressive maturity.
Definitely. Motorsports by Alex did add a bit of context, though. Pointed out his teammate didn't get a clean final run.
Ah, right. And Russell's strategy. Still a bit of a question mark there in those final moments.
It's always little factors at play. Alex also dug into the telemetry from F1 Tempo. Fascinating stuff.
Oh, yeah. What did that show?
Apparently, Antonelli had a noticeable advantage on the straights. Good straight line speed.
Okay.
But Piastri was quicker in the corners. It was shaping up to be his pole until the very end.
Don't tell me the last corner again.
Yep. That final corner was critical. The data showed Piastri made a braking mistake right there.
Wow. How close was it before that?
According to Alex, Piastri was actually ahead by 79 thousandths at the exit of turn 8.
79 thousandths. Tiny.
Then, after that final braking zone, Antonelli was suddenly ahead by 17 thousandths.
17 thousandths. That is absolutely insane. Less than a blink of an eye deciding P1.
It really is. Shows the level they're operating at. Every single input matters.
Yeah.
Alex mentioned Piastri had about 3/10 in hand before that mistake.
Ouch. So a potentially comfortable pole gone in one corner.
Pretty much. And listening to Piastri afterwards, he was very sporting, congratulated Antonelli.
Well, you seemed okay.
But he did admit struggling with the car's feel all day, feeling uncomfortable. Said he went for an early run because he lacked confidence.
So P5 was definitely not what he wanted. Focusing on the sprint start now, I guess. Seems that way. Okay, let's touch on some other drivers. Russell, P2. He mentioned it wasn't his best lap.
Another victim of that last corner.
Yep, said he had a lock up there too. But overall, seemed pretty happy with second and optimistic for the sprint.
That last corner really caught a few drivers out, didn't it? Still, P2 is a strong starting spot.
Then Verstappen, P4. He talked about understeer.
Again. Seems to be a recurring theme for him in the slower sections.
Yeah, especially low-speed corners. But he seemed, well, realistic about it. Knew the car was strong in the first sector, the high-speed stuff, and seems okay with P4.
Understanding the car's limitations, I suppose. Different setups suit different parts of the track.
Leclerc was quite blunt. Just said the pace wasn't there and focus was on the start.
Suggests Ferrari might have been a bit off the pace in that qualifying trim. Maybe changes coming for the main race. Parc Fermé rules allowing, of course.
Right. Those Parc Fermé rules lock things down quite a bit, don't they? Makes that initial setup call crucial.
Absolutely. You commit before sprint quali, and major changes for the main GP are very restricted.
What about Alonso, P10? He sounded genuinely surprised.
And pleased, right?
Yeah, pleased but surprised. Said the car felt better in FP1, but the speed wasn't quite there later. Still working on it.
Considering Aston's recent form, P10 is pretty decent, as Alex noted, especially with Stroll further back. Shows Alonso still got it.
Definitely. Sainz, though, P7. He sounded quite disappointed.
Even though the lap felt okay?
Yeah, he felt the lap was good, but they were just further off than they wanted.
Yeah.
Mentioned tire struggles.
The tires. Always the tires. Getting them in that perfect window. It's a constant battle.
He called P7 best of the rest. Sort of implies a gap to the frontrunners.
Seems that way. Okay, Hulkenberg. He had quite a day.
He did. Described qualifying as stressful, admitted a mistake on his first run.
But got into Q3, right? P9.
Yep, P9. First Q3 for Sauber this season, which Alex highlighted as a big deal. Hulk mentioned balance issues, inconsistency, but overall, a very good result.
Huge result for them. And probably a testament to his experience getting it done under pressure.
For sure. Albon, too, P8. He was pleased.
Another strong showing from him.
Called it tight qualifying. Said FP1 was tricky with a flat spot, but felt he maximized the Williams. Maybe left a tiny bit in the last corner.
Alex gave him an honorable mention, didn't he? Albon really knows how to get the most out of that car.
He really does. Then there's Norris, P3.
Decent result.
Yeah, he seemed positive overall. Said their long-run pace is usually stronger, and it was good prep for main qualifying.
But I sense a but.
He did say the car didn't feel quite right, comfort-wise.
And Alex's analysis suggested the lap wasn't perfect either. Time lost somewhere.
Yeah, Alex mentioned telemetry showed time lost in the 14-15 chicane.
Yeah.
And that maybe Piastri had the edge on pure pace, even with a mistake.
Interesting. That discomfort Norris felt might explain that slight lack of ultimate pace. Driver feel is so important.
Okay, then we have the drivers who had a tougher time. Ocon called his session messy.
Different from practice?
Yeah, balance issues popped up in qualifying. Ricciardo locked up at turn 11, aborted his final lap. Needs to look at the data.
That midfield is so tight. Small mistakes cost a lot.
Tell me about it. Tsunoda sounded absolutely furious.
Traffic.
Big time. Said he was impeded throughout the lap, especially badly in the last corner. Cost him several tenths, he reckons.
Oh, man.
Plus, he was livid about being blocked in the pit lane before his final run. We heard that on the radio.
Yeah, you don't want to get in Yuki's way when he's trying to get out. Alex mentioned that too, right? The traffic with Bierman and maybe a team timing error.
Exactly. Alex seemed concerned about Red Bull's operational side with Tsunoda.
Understandable frustration for Yuki. Pit lane traffic, traffic. It can ruin everything in these short sessions. Communication is key.
Magnussen also got blocked on his outlap. Missed a second timed lap.
Ugh.
Bottas blamed an intelligent car pulling out of the pits. Stroll said multiple cars got in his way.
Sounds like chaos out there.
Zhu locked up. Gasly locked up while on a decent lap. Hajar locked up on a potential Q2 lap. And Behrman just missed the flag after one lap.
Just goes to show how hard it is to get a clean run, especially in Miami. High pressure, tight track in places.
Let's switch gears a bit, talk tech. The F1 TV Tech Talk segment was interesting because, well, you don't always see big upgrades on sprint weekends.
Right. Limited practice time usually discourages it, but Miami was different.
Starting with Ferrari. That blue and white livery. Quite striking.
Yeah, the Nart tribute. Looked good, but the tech behind it was cool too.
The latex coating.
Exactly. Apparently 14% lighter than a normal special paint job. PVC-free, recyclable too.
And it handles the engine heat. That's pretty impressive. 14%. That's not nothing when you're chasing thousands.
Shows the level of detail, doesn't it? Every gram counts. Even the paint.
Then Red Bull. A brand new floor on a sprint weekend.
That's what the Tech Talk called a bold call. Subtle visual changes, apparently fences, edge wing tweaks.
Aimed at more downforce, wider setup window.
That's the idea. Both drivers running it. It's risky, though. Paul Monahan from Red Bull even admitted that.
Yeah, if it doesn't work as expected with limited practice.
Could be tricky, but it suggests they're pretty confident in their understanding of the RB21 that these are proper incremental gains.
Aston Martin brought updates, too. A lower downforce rear wing for Miami straights.
Makes sense. And a smaller front flap to match, plus a revised beam wing for less drag.
The Tech Talk highlighted how much work goes into these rear wings, finding that downforce drag balance.
Especially with DRS and the FIA watching wing flex closely, it's a constant battle.
And all the Mercedes-powered teams got an updated power unit.
Aston included. Same spec, basically, but minor tweaks for reliability, cost, safety.
Could still mean a tiny performance bump, though.
Potentially. Even small gains in efficiency or reliability add up over a race. Strategic options might improve, too.
Alpine had something interesting. A new front brake duct-listed.
But they didn't run it.
Nope. Held back, likely due to the sprint format. They did run revised front suspension fairings, maybe linked to that duct system, possibly looking ahead to Monaco.
Makes sense. Save it for a weekend with more practice time to really understand it. Smart.
And finally, Williams had a new beam wing for less drag. Sauber had modified front suspension bits, plus their own special livery.
So yeah, quite a lot of development happening despite the sprint constraints. teams just keep pushing.
Absolutely, it's nonstop.
That relentless cycle of finding tiny advantages.
So wrapping this up, what a session. Antonelli shock pole with it pure talent, strategy, maybe some luck with others' errors. We saw so many different driver experiences.
From elation to total frustration, and those tech upgrades thrown into the mix, it really spices things up for the rest of the weekend, doesn't it?
Definitely. The competitive order could still shift around.
It's amazing how much happens in just one short qualifying session. Driver skill, strategy calls, tech developments, all intertwining.
Which leads to a final thought for you listening. With practice time so tight on these sprint weekends, how much was Antonelli's success down to just raw talent shining through? How much was team strategy or just being in the right place when others stumbled?
And with all these new parts on the cars, Red Bull's floor, Aston's wing, the Merc PU updates, how much will the pecking order genuinely change between the sprint and the main Grand Prix once teams have more data?
Something to definitely keep an eye on. It's going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.